Yeah? I mean, he looks very scary to me. He looks very intimidating, don't you think? Don't you think? What is up, my YouTube dudes? Welcome back to another vlog. This weekend, I am doing something that is arguably much more fun than go-karts. I am going car racing. I'm currently on my way over to GingerMan Raceway in beautiful South Haven, Michigan for an SCCA driver school, where I will be competing in a real-life race in real-life cars for the first time ever. So, a quick little backstory on how this weekend came to be. I play a lot of iRacing, which is an online racing simulator, and I'm in this league that's run by somebody who has a race team in real life that goes to a lot of SCCA events around the country, and the team's mission is just to get people involved, get people in the seat who don't have a lot of experience. So what he did was he created this program in this league where if you run enough, you can accrue points towards a free rental. And I was one of the lucky ones who got that free rental. So I'm just now starting my 4 hours or so long journey on over to Michigan. Super pumped, super excited, been looking forward to this for a long time now. Hope you all enjoy. She's a Buick.
It's an alternate edition.
Yeah, your favorite. So this right here is where your neon does that.
Yeah.
The problem with this is, this one here is connected to this one. That position is connected to this one, to that one, and to this one, right? So basically, hang on.
All right, so we just got done with our long hour-and-a-half classroom session. We are about to do some touring laps behind the instructor on the track. Maybe 5 or 6. Unfortunately, not driving the race car. I was really hoping I would be able to do that today, but have to wait till tomorrow. Out in here. There we go, beautiful. All right, so just finished our touring session. I have never, ever squealed the tires in this thing until then. But honestly, that was pretty fun. Got a feel for the track and what lines I would like to take. Be different with the race car, obviously. But still, got a feel for it. All right, so team orientation. We got Chris here.
Hello.
Came all the way from California. We got Frank, the team owner. He's also racing.
And also on my phone, which is what I'm always doing, right? Trying to find a place for dinner.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all? Yeah, we're about to get dinner. We're all hungry.
I'm hungry.
Yep.
I'm ready for food.
Yeah, we all are.
I know.
I kind of feel like I'm on vacation right now. This is my teammate, by the way. He's driving the other car. Won the see-through iRacing also.
Yeah.
Why all the way from California though? Like why this event? Just because it was available?
It was available, and the racing schools in California were still twice as expensive as much money as I paid for everything here.
Oh wow.
So even if I did go to school in California, I would still pay double what I'm paying here now. They have great schools out there, but I couldn't afford it. I just simply couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
And then Frank said, "Hey, come on out here. There's a ride for you." I'm like, "There's a school here." It's just an opportunity I couldn't pass up.
Right. But like some of those cones were like way later than I was expecting.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh shoot, you turn in there? Okay.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, I can see why.
And everyone learns tracks differently. Like some people learn tracks by walking it. Some people learn by looking at the cone. Some people look at where's your boundaries.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
not really a one set way of doing it.
Yeah, I'm more like hands-on. Like I want to like be in the seat and like feeling it out. All right, so funny story. We all got kicked out of that first restaurant.
Yeah.
Because this guy right here apparently was yelling to the waitress.
I don't believe that for a second.
Yeah. I mean, he looks very scary to me. He looks very intimidating, don't you think?
Santa Claus is going to fight me.
Yeah, for sure. We met Santa Claus out there. He's on vacation. All right, so we're back. Gonna tent it this weekend, so got all that set up. These dudes are just gonna camp out right here underneath the canopy. No tent, no nothing, just sleeping bag and a tarp.
No.
So that's right?
You'd be surprised of how nice that actually is.
I'm sure it is. Just get to gaze at the stars.
We'll gaze at the stars for a little bit, but mainly just in case it does rain, we're covered.
All right, anyways, tomorrow gonna be a full day of on-track sessions and classroom sessions. I'm not really looking forward to the classroom sessions, but still, super pumped about tomorrow. Cannot wait. Morning, everybody. Welcome to day number 1 here of the GingerMan Driver School. Beautiful day, beautiful weather. Beautiful day for some on-track sessions. Got the classroom session coming up here in a little bit, and then we're hitting the track. And as I mentioned yesterday, that's kind of how today's gonna be, alternating between classroom and on-track sessions. So, like I said, really looking forward to the on-track stuff, not so much the classroom stuff. All right, so both Chris and I are suiting up, both equally excited for our first on-track session. Any thoughts you want to say before you go out?
I'm excited.
Same here. That's all we can really say. Hope it goes well. right, so it's been a very busy morning. We had 2 sessions on track this morning, and we got 1 more session coming up this afternoon. All I can say after those first 2 sessions is I do not want to go back to kart racing. That was so much fun. First session out there, just kind of got a feel for the kart, feel for the track, felt pretty good. Second session, I was by myself, and I definitely overdrove quite a bit. There were a lot of corners that I do need to clean up and definitely work on my consistency. But I did hit 1 good lap at the very end that moved me into P3 overall in my group and P1 in class out of the 3. So coming up is our quote-unquote race. I'll be starting 3rd on the grid. It'll be 30 minutes. And I say quote-unquote race because since it's a driver's school, it's not really an actual race, but more of like a racing experience, if you want to call it that. So really looking forward to that, hoping to work on my consistency, clean up a few corners, and just get a better feel for the car. All right, so Frank's car broke here because the clutch is gone, so he's going to use my car to run in his race. All right, so we're up here on top of the hill, watching our leader Frank wheel her around. It's my car he's driving.
Apparently that whole thing's a straightaway.
Full throttle, full send, yep. We got a few pointers from him. So here we are, the Saturday race, starting 1st in class, 3rd overall behind 2 Miatas. Time to start pretty well, get a better launch as you can see than the Miatas, but they just have much more horsepower than me and are able to pull away. Also, you see you got the Corvette to my outside. I do brake pretty conservatively going into 1 here just because I wasn't sure what the Corvette was going to do. I could have went deeper looking at this, but I just decided to play it safe and back out. So the Corvette does motor away right here, and then I have a CRX to my inside with a lot more power who pulls up right alongside me. But going into turn 3 here, he does brake pretty early, a little earlier than I would have liked to, so I drive in a little deeper, try to hang around the outside just to be a little racy and challenge him, but he hangs around the inside and using his extra horsepower is able to pull ahead of me right there. So I fall in line behind him, hoping I could just kind of stay with him. I was pretty close to him all day, but with his extra horsepower, my little Mini Cooper is just no match for him. So at this point, I got Chris, my teammate, right behind me. Going into the final corner right here, I do miss a shift, and I don't notice it until the apex of the corner when I'm trying to accelerate because I can't hear the car with the loud car in front of me. So I get it corrected, Chris gets close to me, but he just stays in position behind me. He stays there for a few laps, and he started to fall off little by little each lap, and then I guess he made a mistake in 1 corner and dropped completely off. So for the first half of this race, I was kind of just running laps alone, and unfortunately my camera died before I caught the best part of this race, which was about halfway through, both the Corvette and the CRX, their tires must have fallen off pretty bad because they fell off the pace significantly. So I ended up catching them and was on their tail, but the problem was I would eat them up through the corners, and with their extra horsepower, they would just motor away on the straight, and I would lose all the ground that I gained. So that's kind of how the remainder of the race went. I do end up passing the CRX, which is good, so then it was just me and the Corvette. And going into 10, on the second to last lap, which is this off-camber right-hander coming up after these S's, he brakes just a little bit too deep, locks up the brakes, gets loose, and then ends up overcorrecting and shooting off into the grass. So that's how I passed him, got through. That moved me up into 2nd overall, which is where I finished. 2nd overall, 1st in class. So I'm very happy I was able to pull that off. I do turn my fastest lap after the Corvette spun on my last lap, which is a 153.5, and that is only a second off what Frank turned earlier in the same car. So very happy about that. Very happy I was able to improve my consistency. Very happy I was able to win and beat other cars that were faster. But most importantly, I'm just really, really glad that I had a good time out there. How was it?
I think you and I are the only ones like, let's do more, come on.
Yeah, it was 30 minutes long, and we both were shocked when the 1 lap came out, or the white flag came out, because we were both, I think, ready to do another 30 minutes, as he said.
this is why I like GingerMan, because I have the track record on that part of the track, and it'll never be broken.
Alright, so it's currently nighttime. About to turn in for the night. Just thought I'd do a quick little send-off before we get into tomorrow's videos. Like I said before, today was just absolutely amazing. I do not even want to touch my go-karts. I don't even want to touch my go-karts right now after how much fun I had today. I'd like to say I got familiar with the car pretty quickly. That first session I was kind of around a lot of other people, and I don't think I mentioned this earlier, but going into one of the fastest corners on the track, I had a guy spin right in front of me with nowhere to go, and I ended up driving off track to avoid him, which was the correct move. So that was kind of the hairy moment in the first session. Second session, I was alone, but I was overdriving it quite a bit and just wasn't very consistent. For that final afternoon session, though, for the 30-minute quote-unquote race, I felt I did a pretty good job. I missed a shift coming out of the final corner, but other than that, it was pretty smooth sailing. I was very consistent. I found a second in between my morning sessions and that session, which is good. Only about a second off of Frank, our team leader, who is pretty darn good in these cars, so I'm happy there. But there's still some areas I can work on, some corners in particular on the track that I think I can do better. So I'll review the video when I get back to the tent and hit it hard tomorrow. Morning, everybody. Welcome to day number 2 here at GingerMan Raceway. Format for today, very similar to yesterday. 2 sessions in the morning, 1 race-long session in the afternoon. Things will be a bit different, though. Yesterday was basically just track time. We were just out there turning laps, no flag drills, any of that. But today they said they're going to throw us a few curveballs and maybe throw out a random yellow somewhere, maybe a black, maybe a red, just to see how we handle those situations. So it'll be a little more interesting, that's for sure. Alright, this is our second session of the morning, and I figured I'd narrate this since we're doing practice starts and it's like a mini race. I do get a really good jump, better than the meow to my inside, but unfortunately I missed my shift from second to third, and it just kills my momentum. But I do carry a lot more speed than the Corvette here, going through corner number 1, and I end up passing him. How about that? That's something you see every day, a mini passing a Corvette. So I'm pretty happy about that, but you know, unfortunately it's a Corvette. I can't hold him, so he's going to motor right by me here on the straight. So like I said, this is the second session. The first session went pretty well. I was just kind of alone turning laps, and one thing that the officials did differently with us today is they're actually throwing flags at us, meaning the corner stations are going to randomly throw out a flag, like maybe a yellow or a debris flag, just to kind of see how we would react in those situations. Well, they sent out a safety truck, a slow-moving safety vehicle around course in the first session, which was a test. That went pretty well. And then they also threw a red flag, meaning there's an emergency on track and you need to come to a safe, controlled stop. So there wasn't an emergency, obviously, but still, that went pretty well. But for the second session, again, we did the practice start. That went pretty well, and the majority of this, I guess, race, I'm just kind of sitting behind these guys, just turning laps. I got Chris behind me, keeping me in check, but that's kind of how the majority of this race went. But they did do another flag drill this session, and that was black flagging me. So, yeah, that base black flag means that you did something wrong. Report to the pit lane and talk to the steward. So I reported to the pit lane and asked them what was up, and they just said it was a test to make sure I was paying attention. But what sucked is the finishing order for this race actually determined where you started in the final race in the afternoon. So because of that black flag, I finished well down the order, but hey, no big deal. I'm just here to learn, here to prove to the instructors that I know what to do in certain race conditions. So again, really, really fun session. now here comes the boss man. Got a little squirrely through one that time. Sounded like he downshifted there. Just watching him, trying to take a few notes before my race in that exact same car. Here we are, the Sunday race, our final chance to screw up in front of the instructors. No. But anyway, I do get another really good start, get a run on the Miata. Thought about making a move to the inside, but just was not worth it to take that risky of a move in such a non-important race. So end up backing out, but the Miata does get a pretty bad run going through turn 1, so I'm able to sneak underneath and go by. I do have a faster Mustang right behind me, so he comes up and goes to my inside in this corner, turn 3. But I just let him go. No point in challenging him. But because of that black flag drill that happened in that qualifying race, I started towards the back of the field and, of course, last in class. So I got some work to do, but it's a long 30-minute race, and I was confident that I could catch up in those long 30 minutes. So we got Chris, who is the class leader, up ahead. But one thing I did notice about the car was it was very, very pushy, very tight, just did not want to turn at all. And because of that, had to get on the gas a little bit later, changed my driving a little bit, changed my lines, but unfortunately just wasn't able to pick up a whole lot of speed. But right here though, this is first lap following Chris into turn 10. He gets really, really loose, so I'm a little bit hesitant with him completely sideways in front of me. But I do end up pulling alongside of him right here. He's got a little bit of a nose on me, but as soon as I shift into 4th gear, my car definitely has a little bit more legs than he does, and I'm able to nose ahead. Going into the braking zone, I outbrake him and carry the speed and complete the pass going into the final corner. Now about halfway through the race, they did another flag drill. They did a black flag all, meaning we had to proceed to the pit lane and stop. But what they did was they inverted the entire race order, which meant the person in first had to go back to last, and the person in last went to first, and so on and so forth. So that, again, dropped me to the basically last in class, and that also meant I had a lot of faster cars now behind me. So like the CRX blows by me right there, that Mustang, and the Corvette as well is actually behind me. So yeah, last in class. That meant I had to pass Chris again, but I was up for the challenge. But yeah, again, going back to the handling issue, there goes the Mustang. Like I said, the car was just very pushy. I'm thinking just the older tires combined with the greasier track kind of made it handle that way. So like I said, really struggling with the handling, having to get on the throttle later, having to adjust my lines, but ultimately just could not figure the car out in this condition, where I was to the point where I was able to turn the same lap times I was earlier. So that's unfortunate, but right there goes the Corvette. I'm a little hesitant into these corners since the Corvette, being a heavier car, is a little bit slower through the turns, so I'm a bit hesitant. But there he goes. I got one more car behind me who's trying to make moves, and I'm just doing my best to hold my line. Okay, so we're heading into the final corner right here. We got Chris right ahead of me, and he's having the exact opposite issue I'm having, and he is a little bit too loose. So he gets loose to the final corner, and he defends to the inside. I get the run, so I just go to the outside right here. I'll brake him, carry a lot of speed into the corner, and hold him tight to the inside, and I'm able to drive around him right there. So this is the start of an actually very, very fun battle. Because I'm pushing, I'm not able to get runs out of the corner, and his car is handling a little bit better than I am, despite being loosey-goosey. So he gets a run coming up to here, pulls to my inside, establishes position. I give him some space. I see him. Just kind of hold the outside, knowing that the next corner coming up is a left-hand turn, and I'll be in good position for that one. So he ducks out right there. Then again, through the final corner, I'm pushing really bad, do not get the run, so he gets a good run coming into the final corner, pulls to my inside. Brakes a little bit deeper than me, as you're about to see right here. Brakes a little bit more deeper than me, but I'm able to roll a little bit more speed than he is, and just kind of hang around the outside. And a little bit sketchy driving a tight race car off the line, but we make it through. Again, going into one though, I know I have the inside. I know I just need to kind of outbrake him, but we do end up braking pretty evenly right there. But again, I just carry a little bit more speed through the mid corner,
and clear him. Right here, he tries to dive down to the inside at 2, but just takes a little bit shallow line, and since he has a loose race car, he just kind of breaks a little loose there, unable to complete the pass. So that was kind of our battle. Corner station's throwing a flag right there. I'm just pointing there to make sure he sees it. Again, another flag throw. But the car in front of me right there, well, now 2 cars ahead. Second car in line right there, that's the class leader. So I'm right up on him, trying to try some different things to try and catch him, but unfortunately I'm just not able to get the hang of the car down in this state to end up running him down. So I finished second in this race. A little disappointed in that because of the handling of the car, but I did end up getting my novice permit, which was the overall goal of the weekend, and I had some absolutely amazing battles with Chris there in this race. So really huge shout out to Frank and Scott on the team for doing what they did. This weekend definitely was a blast, and I cannot wait to do it again.
Alrighty, so weekend in the books. Wow, what can I say other than that rocked? I mean, seriously, that weekend has for sure one-upped every single kart race that I've done so far, and I honestly would have to say my favorite racing weekend ever out of the 20 plus years that I've been around the racetrack. Has probably been my favorite racing weekend ever. So yeah, that's a wrap on the weekend. Really, again, just huge shout out to Frank and Scott for making this weekend so easy. I mean, the car was super reliable. I really didn't have to even turn a wrench. It was that easy. I could just focus on my driving, focus on developing myself the whole weekend, and that's what made it easy. That's partly what made it so successful. So again, really happy with how this weekend went. I will be doing this again in the future. Don't know when yet, but I'm going to try to make it happen this year. So stay tuned, and I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. All right, team orientation.
Hello.
This right here, Chris. I keep thinking like your name is Thomas for some reason.
No, that's because Thomas is the vocal one. I'm just his mini-me.
Okay, all right.